Hi everyone, it's Lou here. Welcome to my first art journal video. I'm working today in John chapter 13 verse 35, which says, "By this everyone will know that you are my disciples, if you love one another." I'm going to start out by writing out the Bible passage and my reflections on it, and I'm working today in my moleskin A4 watercolour folio. For my background, I'm going to create a snow scene, and I'm using 3 colours of Craft Artiste acrylic paint. That is baby blue, sea spray and night blue, and I'll put a list of the supplies down in the description box. I'm just using a baby wipe to apply them so that they blend from the lightest colour in the centre to the darkest around the edges. The thing that inspired me to make this page was a picture I had when I was thinking about this verse, and that was of the emperor penguins. You know how they survive in the winter is to huddle together and take it in turns to stand on the outside and protect one another from the cold. And I thought that's such a good illustration of how community should come together. I'm blending the paints together even more using a makeup stipple brush. I got this one from Poundland, and I'm spritzing some water onto the page, which helps them blend even more. I'm going to take a mini tile stencil, and using the same stipple brush I'm dabbing some paint first onto the tray and then the stencil. And the paint tray I'm using is actually some food packaging, and I'm using the lighter sea spray acrylic paint first and then the darker night blue. Now I'm going to take my embossing pen, and with a chisel tip I'm going to draw some snowflakes and then shake some seafoam white embossing powder over the top. I'm going to shake off the excess and then rub off the bits I don't want with my finger and a paintbrush. I just shake the excess off into a jar, and then I'm going to melt it with my heat tool. Taken some tracing paper and placed it over my page, and then I'm going to draw out the shape of a snowbank with my pencil and cut it out with my scissors, and then I'm going to use this as a stencil template to paint on some gesso as my snowy ice on the ground foreground. I'm using a palette knife to get some texture into the gesso by patting the surface, and I think this makes it look a lot more like snow. You can see here close up how much texture I managed to get. For my focal point, I'm going to make several penguins huddled together, and I'm using some pages torn from an old dictionary. First I'll paint them with gesso to tone down the text and give me a white base to work on. Next I'm tracing a sketch of an emperor penguin that I've drawn in my notebook, and then I'm going to place some carbon paper under the tracing and draw over the lines to copy the sketch onto the dictionary paper. I'll trace 4 the same as this and then turn the tracing paper over and get another 4 facing in the other direction so that there's a bit of variety. And I'm going to colour in the penguins with my Faber-Castell Picked Artist pens. I've got the 12 colour set of this one, and I'm not too worried about blending the colours properly. I just want them to be bright and vibrant. Then I cut them out with my scissors and then arrange them in a group together on the page. I'm going to stick them down with matte medium gel, and this will give me a non-porous surface so that when I come to shade around the penguins with my Pitt pens, I'll have a small amount of time to smudge them with my finger before they dry permanently. I'm using the lighter blue to shade around on the snow. You can see I'm just using my finger to smudge it out. And then the darker blue on the sky. Here I'm using an ordinary pencil just to shade the penguins and to give them some feather details. I've printed out the words of the verse and I'm arranging them to see where I want to stamp the keywords. I'm using black archival ink to stamp the most important words, and I really should have remembered when I was doing this that these stamps tend to pick up ink on the corners and archival ink is permanent. So you'll see that I get extra ink on the page that I didn't want, and there was no way for me to remove it. I thought perhaps it would look like a design feature, but in the end I didn't like it, so I'll use some acrylic paint to cover it up. It's not perfect, but it's no big deal. The letters didn't stamp perfectly on my textured background, so I'm using my black Pitt pen to colour in the bits that have missed out. I stuck down the rest of the verse with matte medium. With my white gel pen, I'm adding some highlights to the letters and also to the penguins. I'm adding some colour to the printed words to blend them into the background, and then some shading with a darker blue. Then I decided that the rest of the page needed more blue shadows to tie it together, because it didn't quite fit with the text. As a finishing touch, I'm adding some modelling paste. That's with a palette knife, and on the bottom of the page, just to make it look like the penguins are standing in snow, and to give the page some more texture. So that was the finished journal page for today. I hope it inspires you to create something of your own. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up and click subscribe if you'd like to see more. Thanks for watching.